One morning on the island of Sodor, Stanley and Hank were arguing, and still Bash and Hero were still not standing it. I get to take the special guests to Old Bailey's party at London Station, so I am the best. Because remember, I discovered that station at night. You did not, said Stanley. I did too, said Hank. Boys, said Hero, stop arguing. Exactly, said Bash. We had enough of it. Shut up, said Hank. Well, you shut up, said Stanley. Not you, said Hank. Them. But already the two engines were arguing, so Bash and Hero could not stand it at all. The Fat Controller arrived and said this to the engines. Hero, I want you to take Henrietta. I want you to pull Henrietta, because the reason why I'm telling you to pull her around the island of Sodor is because it's your passenger train. It's your how to pull the coach, and it's your how to pull a Sodor coach training. So be prepared with Henrietta. Yes, sir, said Hero. Hero puffed away. He was excited about his passenger training, and he puffed away to search for Henrietta. When the Fat Controller turned to Bash and said, Bash, I want you to go to the docks to collect the balloons, he said. Yes, sir, said Bash. And Bash puffed away. Which really means this, said Hank. I will pick up the passengers. You won't, said Stanley. And with that, Stanley was going to go first. But already, Hank has took his way out away, and Stanley chased after him. Hank steamed away, and Stanley raced after him as fast as he could. While Hero was enjoying himself with Henrietta, he was having a real fun day. While Bash was taking the balloons, he was excited about how good it's going to be at the party at all. The balloons were at the party, and Hero's test run with Henrietta had already finished. So finally, both Bash and Hero decided to rest. When they were about to rest, they saw that Stanley was speeding after Hero, and he saw that Stanley was speeding after Hank, and Hank was getting chased by him. What's going on? Said Bash. Don't know, said Hero. And with that, the two engines were having a fight with one another. I'll get there first to my last breath, said Stanley. You won't for long, said Hank. When they approached the wrong way. The wrong way was the breakdown train was still on the line as Hank and Stanley crashed into it. The breakdown train was in smithereens as Hank and Stanley were off the rails. That hurted me, said Hank. It was all your fault, said Stanley. Shut your mouth, said Hank. No, I won't, said Stanley. Shut your mouth this, shut your mouth that, went Hank. He was really annoyed. The fat controller spoke severely to them. You two have been naughty. You have been very bad and you two have been very naughty and very silly. And as for Hero and Bash, they were being very sensible. We were, sir, they said. Now you two naughty engines will never take the special guests to London Station party for long. So now finally Bash and Hero will finally take them. Yay, they said, and they were delighted to think about how much old Bailey wants to know how sensible they were. Now you shall go to the repair yards now, he said. The engines were doomed. Meanwhile, Bash and Hero were having fun, and they finally made it to London Station, and there was the special guests. They were excited to be meeting Old Bailey. Old Bailey was delighted with the sensible engines, but he was not so sure where Hank and Stanley were. Meanwhile, the two naughty engines were sent to the works to be mended, and they were also aboarded on James's goods train. James was taking them to the works on his goods train, while still Hero and Stanley were being so naughty and so rude. And with that, James finally dropped both Stanley and Hank to the works as James steamed away out of the repair shed with his goods train, while Hank and Stanley were still mended and arguing again and again. It was all your fault for what you did, said Hero. You started it, said Stanley. You're still such a show-off since we last met, said Hank. Shut up, said Stanley. Should I do this, sir? Should I rub this? Should I do this, do that, and all that, sir? said Hank because of Stanley. Shut up, said Stanley, and they were all arguing, and still everyone are not going to bear this at all, and it was because of the light of their attitude and their tones, and that was why both Hank and Stanley were being very naughty and silly on the Sodor Railway.